Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Red Shadow, and I'm back with another one of the videos I mentioned in my last video, the vlog that I did, just kind of saying I'm back. One of the things that I wanted to do was, of course, pick up videos. That's most of what I've done with this channel, is just showing off the shit that I buy here and there, left and right. Now, this is going to be the one that's about recent movies that I've bought, almost all Blu-rays. I was going to say all Blu-ray, but there is a DVD in here. And I've kind of broken them down into different little categories. This is not everything that I've picked up since the last time I did videos. There's also a chance that one of these things in here might have been shown in the past. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but in case I did, oops. But this is some of the highlight things to me of what I've bought within the last couple of months, let's say. So I'm going to start off by showing this, which is the Not For Resale documentary. Oh, by the way, this is one of the few things out of this whole entire pile I'm going to show that I've actually watched. I've gotten really bad about buying movies without watching the stuff, but I just spend so much time playing games nowadays or watching YouTube. Really no different than before, but I think I watch fewer movies now than I did before. But I really wanted to watch this when it came out, and it was really interesting. It was also different than what I expected. This is a video game store documentary, Not For Resale. This was produced by, I can't remember his name, Pat Contri, who is Pat the NES Punk on YouTube. I don't really care for the guy or his content, but this I had to check out. It also has Kelsey Lewin, who's from the Metal Jesus Rocks group, and Frank Cifaldi. Her and Frank Cifaldi are a part of the video game history preservation something or other. I could probably find out if I just looked a little bit closer. I don't really see anything on here for sure, but it's a group that's basically trying to preserve physical video game related everything, consoles, games, you name it. And I really respect that idea. And so when this came along and I saw it, I was like, I have to get this. Also, I just had my memory refreshed. Greg Miller, from formerly of IGN and now of Kinda Funny, stuff that I watch all the time, is in this. And Andrea Renee, who used to be a part of that, who's part of her own thing called What's Good Games, all a part of this. But anyway, before I ramble too long, you have to give me a little bit of leeway on this one because I've actually watched it and I can speak to it. But I thought it was specifically going to be about how, like, video game stores and physical media is going away and digital is coming in and taking over it and blah and all that sucks. They actually really spent a lot of time kind of talking about the positives to both, but it's really I think it's a really important thing if you do care about having all this shit on your shelves and you're interested in knowing a little bit more about how that's affecting people who sell video games, you know, used and otherwise. It's a good thing to watch and check out. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, we'll jump on in here and probably go a little bit faster on some of this stuff. First thing I'm going to show is two movies, 1917 and Midway, a couple of war movies that I missed out on when they first came out, and because I really wanted to check those out. I like the big budget blockbuster style war movies, so when they came out was at my time when I was unemployed and really couldn't just buy whatever came along. So I finally was able to pick those up a couple months back, and they're cheaper, so that was a good thing. And then next up I want to show Kolchak, The Night Stalker. This is an old show from 1974-75, 20 episodes. This is I would say the main and biggest inspiration to Chris Carter, the creator of The X-Files, when he created The X-Files. And I've wanted to see this for a long time, and it's funny how often this has come through Walmart, and I looked at it and I'm like, should I buy it this time or should I wait? I finally grabbed it recently. I want to say it was $12.96 or $14.96, so didn't seem like a bad deal at all. Now I want to show a little stack of so bad they're good movies, except I don't know yet because I haven't watched them. This first two I bought because of who's in them. This is Money Plane, starring Adam Copeland, aka Edge from WWE. Then we got Denise Richards. We've got Thomas Jane, and we got Kelsey Grammer. This is a very badly rated movie, but I had to buy it just because of Edge being in it. He used to be one of my favorite wrestlers, and I wanted to just kind of support the cause of wrestlers who aren't actors being in movies that probably shouldn't be made. Sort of like this next one, Cosmic Sin, starring Frank Grillo and Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is part of the reason why I got it, mainly because I wanted to see why he's in this movie that's supposed to be real shitty, but also because one of the other people that's in it is an actress by the name of C.J. Perry, and if you know wrestling at all, well, she is now formerly of WWE, Lana, Rusev's wife, real life and on screen. She recently got cut from the company, I believe, but she's also in this. And so between her and Bruce Willis and my supposed attraction to crappy movies, I bought it when it came through Walmart. It was only $15, which is probably too much, but it is what it is. So now here's another bad movie, Cool as Ice, starring Vanilla Ice. I had forgot that this movie even existed. Somebody in one of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of for movie stuff showed it off recently, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that Vanilla Ice had done a movie that was all... This is his first movie. I don't remember how much other stuff he did. Obviously, he was in one of the Turtles movies doing his turtle rap. But I was like, I have to get it. And this was also on Walmart.com's website for around $15. And it's a Kino Lorber, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, release. And they apparently are pretty popular for putting out really obscure movies and movies that just don't get put out otherwise. And the last of this stack of so bad, hopefully they're good movies, is Willy's Wonderland, starring Nicolas Cage. I've said it a million times before, but I am a big fan of a bad Nick Cage movie, and so I'm hoping that this is going to fit that bill. This is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie before Five Nights at Freddy's movie ever comes out, because that movie still hasn't formulated, but this seems to be about some people getting stuck in a Chuck E. Cheese-like place with animatronic things going crazy, and he plays like a maintenance guy who barely even speaks. So, whatever, for a paycheck, I guess. Alright, small stack of movies that are like classic movies that I love, that I haven't had in my collection yet. We're going to start with The Edge. This movie's from around 1997, and Anthony Hopkins and which Baldwin? Alec Baldwin, and they crash somewhere in the wild, like in Alaska or something, and have to survive. Very interesting movie. I really liked it. Had some twists and turns to it. This one goes with, doesn't need any introduction. The Beverly Hills Cop trilogy on Blu-ray. Finally got this. I've been wanting to get this for a long time, and I just hadn't done it. Now I have all three of those movies. Love those. And speaking of Eddie Murphy, we have Coming to America on Blu-ray. Had to grab that when it came out. It's been forever since I watched that one. And last but not least, Popeye. One of the oldest movie memories that I have is Popeye, and it's not even seeing the movie. It was getting the soundtrack to this movie when I was a kid, and I don't even remember if it was on vinyl or if it was on a tape, but I played the shit out of that music. I probably remember the music way more than I remember the movie because it's been forever since I've seen the movie. Alright, let's go to this stack here. This is anime/animated stuff that I've picked up, the big ones. And I'll just go through this real quick. This is Castlevania Season 1, Season 2 and Season 3, and I hear that there's going to be one more season, and then this series is going to wrap up. This is from Netflix, and I've just heard nothing but good things. Castlevania isn't really a game series that I'm super into. Like, I've never even played more than an hour or two into Symphony of the Night, but I want to play that, and the more I heard good things about this, the more I had to pick it up. And here's my favorite anime of all time. Forgive me for this if it's not your pick for what somebody would ever want to pick as their favorite, but it's one of the only animes I've seen and I loved it, and that's Naruto. They started to release the show on Blu-ray recently, So this is set 1, set 2, and set 3. So far, this is all that's been released for the original. Shippuden is being released as well. I guess somewhere down the road I'll get those when I get to them. And then this is One Punch Man. This is the first season, the big thick box set. And then recently they released Season 2. I don't know if Season 2 had a treatment like that other one, but this is what I ended up buying. I've seen a few episodes of that once when my daughter was here watching on Netflix when we had access to it, and it seemed pretty funny. I wanted to sit down and watch it for myself. Alright, second to the last little stack here is going to be some superhero stuff. So, we have Wonder Woman 1984. I'm woefully behind on this series still. I think I've mentioned this before. As far as the DC movies go, I am behind. Excuse me. I am behind by every movie that's been out since Man of Steel, except for Man of Steel. That's the only one I've watched. But I own all of them now, I think, except for Shazam. I might be wrong, but I have picked up everything else as far as I'm aware. So I had to get that. And then I had to get this because I really enjoyed the movie, but this is the Watchmen HBO Limited series. Had to get that as soon as I heard about it. Here's the Birds of Prey sequel. The Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. I still haven't seen the first Suicide Squad. I know there's another one coming. Looks pretty decent, but then I thought the first one looked decent and a lot of people didn't like it. I got this because it's part of that whole series, so I had to get that, right? Alright, and then the last batch is Marvel stuff, and I'm going to start by showing Deadpool 2. Haven't seen the sequel, hadn't been able to pick it up until recently. Loved the first one. Here's Spider-Man Far From Home. As far as I know, I have the Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland now, except for the new one that isn't out yet. And then here's a couple movies to fill out my MCU stuff. I was short a few movies of that, and I haven't been able to watch. I've only caught up through Doctor Strange, I believe it is. So I had to pick up a few movies to get caught up on this, and I'm short now just one movie, and I'll mention that here, I guess, when I get through these. But this was the first one that I was hung up on, was Black Panther. This came out roughly in that same time period when I just wasn't able to buy movies, and I started to get behind, because these movies come out all the damn time, at least up through Endgame. So now I have Black Panther. I can continue on, at least with that. These may be out of order. But I've got Captain Marvel. I have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp, yeah. And then I have Endgame. But the one movie I'm now missing to go up through this one is Infinity War. So until I can pick up Infinity War, I'm not going to be able to get to the end of the main sections of the MCU, I guess. I'm not super into all that kind of stuff. I really like these movies, but I'm not like hardcore into it. I don't know what I'm going to do about this new bunch. We've got Black Widow, we've got Shang-Chi and something. We've got the Eternals, I think it is. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. So I don't know what I'm going to do about all of that. I guess it's just going to... I may just have to wait until I've seen whether or not people think that this next phase is worth getting into. Alright, so before I just sit here and ramble forever and ever, let's move on to this last stack. These are more of what I would consider to be mainstream movies, and then one specifically cool thing at the end that I got that was a gift. So let's start off here with Freaky, a horror movie that is well, not a spoof, but like a takeoff of Freaky Friday, where two people's they switch bodies and have to deal with that. And it's got Vince Vaughn in it and Catherine Newton. I heard really good things about the acting in this and the movie overall, so I grabbed it. It's also kind of reminiscent of a movie that I own but haven't watched, of course, the Happy Death Day, which I believe is the one that's like Groundhog Day, but in a horror movie. Whatever. And so, anyway, I grabbed this one, and I'll watch it, probably like 10 years from now and report back. Maybe, maybe not. Next thing I got here is Chaos Walking, a movie that to me looked interesting, but of course it didn't seem to get the greatest reviews. But as soon as it came out, I was like, yeah, I want to buy it. I just, if I see something and it looks interesting to me, I just jump on it. And here was something that was kind of that way, but of course it had some controversy to it a few years back, but that's Sonic the Hedgehog. The controversy, of course, being over the way that Sonic looked in the initial previews and trailers for it, which it didn't look great. It was kind of weird and meme-worthy, but they made him look better, and the movie was pretty decent. It's a fun movie. Kids will like it, and I think some people who were old enough to have maybe played Sonic when they were a kid will be into it, but it is kind of made for today's generation. And Jim Carrey is back up to his normal shenanigans, which is nice to see. Although I wish that he would do some more movies that are centric to him and he's not just the bad guy or whatever. Alright, I got News of the World, a new Tom Hanks movie set in the Civil War. I think it was the Civil War part that pushed me to buying this, because otherwise it just sort of looked like an old-timey, Western-style movie, and I'm not always into Western stuff. But it being set in the Civil War, and my general interest in the wars, like Civil War and World War I and II and etc., I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I got the movie Antebellum, which apparently has a time travel kind of effect going on it, and interesting maybe societal look, but through the eyes of a time travel-ish movie. I kind of like that idea, so I grabbed that. And then just a return to big, dumb, apocalyptic, dumb summer blockbuster-style movie in Greenland. And doesn't hurt that it's got people in it that I like Gerard Butler, but particularly Morena Baccarin from Firefly. I see her in something, and that's definitely a plus, kind of like the Deadpool movies and this, and a really bad movie that she did called Sands of Oblivion with Adam Baldwin, who was also on Firefly. I still have that movie. I should watch it again because it's been a long time. And the last thing I'm going to show before I get off of here, especially because I got today's State of Play up behind me and it's starting in a few minutes, but that's the baseball Ken Burns documentary. This is a big box set, 11 discs on Blu-ray, 22 and a half hours of baseball documentary stuff that covers up to around about 2010, which is about the last time I really was able to follow baseball. So this is really cool, and a big reason why this is special to me is because my dad bought this for me. He had told me several times that he'd watched it, asked me if I had seen it. I was like, I'd love to, but it's $100 or more for the Blu-ray. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure that he bought it off from PBS, and so it's going to be their price, and it was definitely expensive. So it meant a lot to me. He knows that I love baseball. Baseball has been something we both love. The St. Louis Cardinals, favorite team and whatnot. So it's really cool to have this in the collection and be able to get a chance to relive some old memories. This one here's got Ken Griffey Jr. on the front, and I believe that's Sandy Koufax. I could be wrong. And of course, Babe Ruth on that one. So anyway, that's my condensed movie pickup video from the last several months. And I'll do one for the games that I've bought recently. That'll be PS4, and then I had a Switch for a while. I don't have the Switch Lite. Don't have that anymore, but I'll show off the games I have for the Switch. But most of the stuff I'll be showing, of course, is PS4. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for that next video, and I'll see you then.